A call to faithfulness. The third Sunday of Lent invites us to reflect on God's commandments, the power of the cross, and the meaning of true worship. In our readings today we see God giving the 10 Commandments to his people at Mount Sinai. St. Paul proclaiming Christ crucified as the wisdom of God. Jesus cleansing the temple, calling people back to authentic worship. Each passage calls us to examine our hearts. Are we truly living according to God's law? Do we see the wisdom in the cross of Christ? Do we worship God in spirit and truth? Let's explore these powerful readings together. The 10 Commandments. God's law for his people. Our first reading from Exodus 20 takes us to Mount Sinai, where God speaks directly to his people, giving them the 10 Commandments. This moment comes 3 months after the Israelites escaped from Egypt. In that time, they have experienced the bitterness of Marah, where God made the water sweet, the gift of manna and quail, as God provided for their hunger, the miracle of water from the rock, where God satisfied their thirst, victory over the Amalekites, showing God's power in battle. Now they reach Mount Sinai, where God calls them to be his holy people, a kingdom of priests. Then God speaks, "I, the Lord, am your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt. You shall not have other gods besides me." The 10 Commandments are not just rules, they are the foundation of God's covenant relationship with his people. They teach us how to love God. They show us how to love our neighbor. These commandments remain relevant today. Jesus himself said, "If you love me, you will keep my commandments." Are we living by these laws today, or have we allowed the world to redefine morality? Christ crucified. The power and wisdom of God. In our second reading, St. Paul speaks to the Corinthians about how the world sees the cross. The Jews demand signs, and the Greeks seek wisdom, but we proclaim Christ crucified. To the world, the cross seems like a contradiction. The Jews expected a Messiah who would conquer with power, not one who would suffer and die. The Greeks sought philosophical wisdom, not a God who would humble himself on a cross. But Paul declares, "The foolishness of God is wiser than human wisdom, and the weakness of God is stronger than human strength." The cross was not a failure, it was the greatest victory in history. On the cross, Jesus bore the curse of sin, fulfilling the sacrifice that opened heaven for all mankind. This is why Catholics display the crucifix, not because we deny the resurrection, but because we know that without the sacrifice of the cross, there is no resurrection. Do we see Christ crucified as the power of God in our own lives? Or do we, like the world, try to avoid the cross? The cleansing of the temple. Jesus confronts false worship. Our gospel reading takes us to Jerusalem, where Jesus cleanses the temple. This is his first visit to the temple during his public ministry, 2 years before his passion. He enters and sees the money changers and merchants selling animals for sacrifice. Jesus makes a whip of cords and drives them out, saying, "Stop making my Father's house a marketplace." The temple was meant to be a place of worship, but it had become a place of corruption and profit. The leaders demand a sign, asking Jesus to prove his authority. Jesus responds, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." They misunderstand him, thinking he means the physical temple building. But Jesus was speaking about the temple of his body. The old temple would be destroyed in 70 AD, fulfilling Jesus' prophecy. But the new and greater temple, Jesus himself, would rise on the 3rd day. The temple was meant to be God's dwelling place. After Jesus' resurrection, he becomes the true temple, and we, as his body, are now God's dwelling place. Does our worship today reflect true devotion to God, or have we allowed distractions to enter our spiritual lives? What this means for us. The third Sunday of Lent is a call to deep reflection. Are we living according to God's commandments? Do we truly honor God above all things? Do we love our neighbor as ourselves? Do we see the cross as the wisdom of God? Or do we try to avoid suffering and sacrifice? Is our worship pleasing to God? Have we allowed the world to corrupt our devotion? Lent is a time of repentance and renewal. Let us return to God with humble hearts, embracing his law, his cross, and his call to authentic worship. How do these readings speak to you this Lent? What commandment do you struggle with the most? How do you see the wisdom of the cross in your life? Have distractions crept into your worship of God? Share your reflections in the comments below. Do not forget to like and share this video to help spread biblical truth. Subscribe for more scriptural insights.